Perfect. So, as already stated, I found Tableau, but we are quite the team who wrote that paper, Getting Real How Benchmarks Page Represent the Real World. And before we were Tableau, we were with Hyper. We are still with Hyper. We are still developing Hyper. Should everyone read about it? Well, what we present is while we were integrating Hyper with Tableau, what was all that weird stuff which took us along? What did we came across? Which challenges did we face? Well, but this talk is not going to be about Hyper. We don't see any logo on here about Hyper. We only see the Tableau logo up there. So I kind of see that all of you know Tableau. Tableau is a BI tool. But the talk, we are only presenting data from Tableau, but it pretty much generalizes to other BI tools too. Since after all, we are doing pretty similar things. So Tableau looks pretty much like that. Not sure if you saw it. It's you load your data, you can visualize it with a few nice graphs. For us, it's not so interesting. For us, what's actually interesting is what happens under the hood. What happens to your data? Since we are on a database conference, we care more about what happens to that data. And Tableau, when it draws all those neat graphs, it doesn't actually do the data processing. Data processing, oops, wrong one. Data processing is delegated to a database, to an actual database. So Tableau is just a front end here on the right-hand side, and it speaks to an actual database. Through SQL, it generates those SQL queries, it sends them to the database, gets back the results, and renders you that nice visualization. Now, why does it matter to you? Because that thing on the right, it's not just Hyper. It's pretty much every database out there. Tableau can connect to every database. Tableau will send those SQL queries to every database out there. So this could be your system. And if you aren't ready for it, believe me, your system is going to suffer from the queries Tableau is going to send you. As a matter of fact, the other day I just talked to a few other database researchers which were telling me, yeah, we are also seeing them in our logs. We are also seeing you guys in our logs. And wow, so I want to share it with you what you have to be prepared for if you get those queries. And of course, we're not allowed to share all our customers' data, since most of it is customers' data, but we've got a new thing called Tableau Public. Tableau Public is a cloud hosting platform for visualizations. Customers upload both their raw data sets as well as the visual specifications of the visualizations to Tableau Public. And then every time someone loads a web page, a visualization on Tableau Public, those SQL queries are generated, sent to the database, validated against the data which is also uploaded. Well, for most users, it's an easy way to show visualizations. For us, it's mostly a huge repository of test data. So in this talk, I will be presenting a few statistics about 60,000 of those visualizations. But I will be only talking about Tableau Public, and keep that in mind, since Tableau Public is free, we might be biased towards smaller data sets. But at least we can share our findings with you. So from those 60K visualizations, we've got over 1 million queries, SQL queries, individual SQL queries. Well, and now let's see what we found there. Before focusing on the queries, let's start with the data, since there are always two aspects to it, like what's the data set and what are your queries. So the data sets, wrong order. Data sets are actually quite small. So that's a histogram, how large our data sets are usually. So most people have like 10 to the power of 4, less than 10 to the power of 4 tuples in their data sets, which is just tiny. For us, this means, well, if someone loads a data set, if someone loads a database, we cannot take like 1 second, 2 seconds to load a database, but it must be just there instantly. And you've got a long tail, so the biggest one has around 10 to the power of 8 tuples in there. Furthermore, those data sets have got a pretty interesting distribution of data types. You can see in the title strings are everywhere, you've got like 50% are stored as strings, 25% of our tuples are stored as integers, and so on. Boolean is pretty much unused. Dates are also pretty unused. Now you might be wondering, hey, there is so much data out there, pretty much everything has a timestamp. Why is it that date and datetime are not used? They're strings, unfortunately. And not only date times and dates are strings, but also all kinds of stuff. ISO country codes like the US, the airport codes like what was used in HEOU? Yeah, ISBNs for both UUIDs, all kind of stuff, all strings. Also, the most favorite strings are 0 and 1, which is kind of why? But well, you can change it. And also things like male, female, well, that one wasn't that frequent, but it's just an example. So kind of like enumeration values. You would think, well, but that's not a clean schema. You've got to tell you, well, people don't care if your schema is clean. They just care about visualization, and they care about performance. So although that schema might be crap, better be fast with the queries. Then it gets worse. International. So since we ship in a few countries, we do have actually that huge number of 0.64% of strings which contain non-ASCII characters. This is pretty much nothing. But still, you need to support them. Benchmarks don't support it at all, or don't need support for those. But that's not the actual issue. The actual issue is collations. I'm not sure if you heard about it. So collations is the special thing where you say, well, they are almost equal. Yes, the thing on the left, it's an uppercase A. The thing on the right is the lowercase a with the weird head on top. Given the right definition of equality, they are equal. And that's what we call collations. And the neat thing about it is that 85% of our string columns have such a thing attached to it. 70% of our string columns are even case or exit insensitive. And for case and exit insensitive, you actually have to do work, it's not. So for case insensitive, you usually have to lowercase those strings before you compare it for equality. It makes query exit optimization harder, they are pretty expensive to validate, and at the same time, some algorithms are not that easy anymore. Do a hash term on that one, with that definition of equality. That's not so straightforward. Well, now I give you a few slides. Unfortunately, this was the wrong order I put them in. Let's get to the queries. 75% of our queries are metadata queries. They are not expensive. They are requesting things like, hey, what are those columns named you've got in your table? Which is like, maybe you've got 100 columns, which means 100 rows, result, but better be fast, respond to that query. So there are a lot of them. Also things like, hey, select now, what's the current time? Or, let's see, can I create a temporary table? And they do that by actually creating a temporary table and dropping it again. And by the way, I recommend you responding yes to that answer. It's probably not good if you say yes, I can create a temporary table. Otherwise, there are code paths which do about temporary tables, and you don't want to make those. So all in all, those are 75% of queries, and they're not hard to make efficient, but it should be efficient. Those code paths to answer those queries. Okay, now let's continue with queries. Most are small. Only every 200 query reaches a query size of 5 kilobytes, but should have done the slides yesterday. That's not the slide I wanted to show you. There we go. That's the right one. So those otherwise are really, really huge. So in our test set on public, the largest one we saw was 6.7 megabytes of SQL text. The largest query I saw so far outside of the test set and the defect was 27 megabytes. Just SQL text, and that's not because someone inlined a 20 megabyte string into that query. That's actual work to do, not just copying over that one string. And you can see this here. So this is the number of, here you see how many expressions we've got. So In our algebra representations, the number of scalar expressions we had in there, of scalar inner nodes within an expression. And we had around 300,000 of those expression nodes in our most expensive query. And you can see, well, this is mostly string handling. So this one is dominated by string handling here and by comparison operators. This one is dominated by arithmetics and a bit of typecasting and a bit of data manipulation, but you see it's not really clear that there's one dominator. It's just all over the place and it's huge. But it's not only expressions, it's also operators. So the largest query in our set had like 273 table scans, not that huge, others supported bigger ones, but still be prepared for that. 237 group bys, a lot of sorts, so 254 order by clauses literally in that query. And all that here is after our optimizer was applied. So that's what we actually have to execute after the join connect all of that. Just to give you an expression, you can take a longer look at that figure in our paper. And then there's the last type of queries, those are incomplete queries, and they are especially key. So since people are interactively clicking around, they might in the beginning not realize, oh, I forgot a filter. Or, oh, I forgot a join predicate here. And they might be like, let's first display all the data we've got on houses, on house prices. And then later they realize, well, actually, I'm just interested in Houston. Which means at first you're scanning that huge table, and only later you're realizing, oh, I don't need all of that. So I'm not saying that you must be fast with those queries, but at least you should report a user, oh, you're 1% done, you're already 1 hour in. Maybe you want to hit that cancel button. And there should be a cancel button, and the cancel button should better work. You should have the possibility to cancel that query. So query cancellation is a good thing, and it should better. Because you don't want to keep that query running for a few days until you finally figure out, oh, no one will need that result anymore. Well, now I told you what we found. Well, what do benchmarks do? Well, benchmarks do really different things from what we do. Let's look at that. So usually they don't have meaningful queries, and they return useful results. They are handwritten, those queries, while our queries are pretty much machine generated. They are executed in a well-designed schema. We don't have that luxury. And they scale the dataset size. So dataset size varies, which is also what we saw in the beginning about a lot smaller scale. Now, if we compare it to what we see, what you should do next time when you want to get ready for Tableau or whichever BI tool might be out there talking to you, make sure your metadata queries are not like, ooh, stop the world, someone wants to know what column is in there. I have to take a global log. No way to figure that out without stopping the whole database. So better, don't do that. Yeah, too bad schema design. Everyone can do good schema design, but in reality, no one does. Include Unicode and calculations if you support them, and if you don't support them, have support for them. But that's a different thing. Benchmarking tiny data sets so that you find all those small overheads like, it takes me a constant 1 second to open a database. It takes me a constant 3 seconds to initialize the indices before I'm ready to process a query. That's kind of unacceptable in our use case at least. And then that's one of the biggest points, scale query complexity, not just data size. Most benchmarks scale data size. For us at least, data size is not an issue. Not with this data. But if you've got like 250 sort operators, and that's just in the public data set, if you've got such expression trees, compilation time might become an issue. You might want to figure out, hey, how much time do I actually want to invest in optimizing that query if I'm only executing it on, I don't know, a few thousand tuples. So don't only scale data size, also scale data byte size, but take query complexity into account and incomplete and incorrect queries. Do something about it. So pretty much it from my side. I hope you could take something out of this talk. Any questions?
Or any questions, please come to the mic if you want to ask something.
Thanks for the presentation. Very interesting idea to have a public table so can upload data and see the patterns. So you do have some engine on the back, right? So what kind of engine is actually running or in this case?
Oops, wrong direction. Yeah, it was the thing when I went over here. Where was it? You were referring to that slide, so what's the thing on the right, correct?
Right.
So that thing on the right right now is pretty much every database which is out there. As long as it speaks SQL, as long as it speaks SQL, that will get talked to it.
Say I have database engine. I want to see how that works with your catalog in this case. How can I, in this case, using your data set to see how my database is working?
It's a pretty good question. So you can download most of those workbooks from Tableau Public. They are freely available. Then you could open a workbook. You could take a look at the log files, and you would see the queries there. And then you would have like a bit of trouble because we are using some built functions which you probably don't support. But well, that's how you could do it.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
So, one thing I wonder is how we can model interaction between usual systems and also the database system when the system may have different speeds. Basically, if the database is fast, then actually the user may use different queries. While the system may issue more queries, the database system is kind of slow, and the content of the query might change. So basically, how can you actually, do you want to model this kind of difference? I mean, basically, depending on the system's throughput, do you expect that the mix of the queries change, or do you want to just keep the mix just the same as the previous benchmark?
So we are of course hoping that by making the Hyper faster, so that thing over here is, in most cases that's us, but it can also be you. We are of course hoping that as database systems and Hyper get faster, that people will be able to answer more complex queries. And that, well, then you will receive more complex queries, of course. So yes, that will change over time. Was that your question?
So basically, basically you also said that there might be some queries that are made by users, so for like some because included, but on the other hand, there might be some queries that are systematically generated and they might scale with the system's throughput, and their complexity might vary. So basically, there might be some relationship between the query content, the mixture of these queries, and also the actual system's throughput. So to model some realistic scenarios, there might be some you might.
Sorry, I'm not sure if I understand the question. Can we talk about it later offline?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. I will.
So thanks for the talk. I have a question regarding query complexity. So I was wondering, this is due to the fact that SQL is too limited and people just find workarounds for what they want to do in the visualization part. And if yes, so what would be maybe something you would like to put in SQL?
One of those things which, well, that's not people, that's actually people just putting it in there.
Sure, yeah.
No. One of the things where not people are familiar with this workarounds, but we are providing by default is like division. So let's assume you've got the billion row table, you've got one single row in there which is invalid, and you're hitting a division by 0. What will happen usually is after 2 hours of query processing, all of a sudden you will get a pop-up saying, hey, division by 0, that's it. But the user, they usually want to see at least the valid data, and maybe a notification, well, probably a notification, hey, by the way, those few rows didn't work. So something like that, for example. There are workarounds for that, to express in SQL, hey, if that's a 0, I want to have a null instead.
That brings in complexity also in case statements, etc.
Well, we solved all those internal things, all those internal issues. which we had for Hyper by setting different queries. Not all databases support all the things we need, unfortunately, and then we have to use like case statements. But they are not in those slides. So those slides are actually not blown up by Tableau, but those are because people, it's not database researchers who are writing those queries.
Thanks very much for a wonderful talk. The very complex queries you saw, do you have any data about the number of tables involved? Was the complexity usually very many tables, or was it lots of stuff on a few tables?
So there's one bit. Then I do want to change the presentation. I just want to go to the first slide. So we have that. So you are referring to that one. So you see there are 273 table scans, but you're of course right. Not all those table scans can different tables. There's one interesting thing. Tableau tends to push the user towards denormalized schemas. So for example, that one here was actually scanning the same table 273 times. It's not the case for all of those, and all of those are denormalized, but that's just one. I know for the top one query, I just know that one is getting exactly one table 273 times.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing this more story. I think it's highly relevant, and by large, I would say from this perspective, all the challenges you mentioned also apply in the SAP context. So really, thank you very much.
I'm looking forward to your paper next year.
Yeah, that's great to share more. My question is, what is the implication on the test strategy? So you mentioned there are a million example queries, like do you fetch them from the public data set and then run them again, or what's the implication?
So those 60K workbooks we used them like as a regular regression test. We run them on a regular basis, and we just see, oh, that one was fast, or in the bad case, oh, that one just 10x slower, which shouldn't happen, of course. So we run them on a regular basis, but we don't use it for correctness testing, so those are mostly used for performance testing.